I lost all my childhood memories and grew up in an orphanage. To me, a letter arrived every year. Do you remember? A letter with just one line written. Memory the origin. When I turned 20, I left the orphanage and headed to the address where the letter came from. A crumbling two-story house that looked like it was about to collapse. I walked around the house once and entered inside. The inside of the house seemed deserted. I began to slowly explore the house. A familiar feeling. Despite it being my first time here, it was a very familiar place. While exploring the house, I found stairs leading to the second floor. The second floor, charred black as if there had been a fire. As I entered there, lost memories began to come back one by one. My mother, who was always a perfectionist. The fights between my mother and father. My mother's affair being discovered by my father leading to a fight. The fight escalated and eventually, my mother murdered my father. My mother, laughing maniacally, muttering something as she started a fire in the house. Unable to bear it any longer, I ran out of the closet, fleeing from the flames on the second floor. I ended up falling out of the window. My mother followed me as I fell. As my vision blurred, I faintly heard my mother's words.
Never remember. The moment you recall it, you'll die too.
And so, the memories of that day I lost came back. I began searching the house to find my mother. While searching the house, I coincidentally saw a figure outside the window. The silhouette of a woman walking into the mountains. It was my mother. As if entranced, I followed that figure up the mountain. Upon reaching the summit, a woman stood at the edge of a cliff. I began to question why things happened the way they did that day. As she listened to my story, she began to smile unnervingly.
You remember?
In an instant, she grabbed my hand and pushed me over the cliff. My last sight was of her grotesque face and laughter.
There was still one person who knew about that day. It was me myself. I returned home and started pouring oil inside the house. Setting my body on fire, I looked at the burning house. Finally, there was not a single person left who knew about that day.